When I'm playing through a systems library, I encounter a lot of games that are effectively unknown. Cybercross is a game that doesn't have any fan pages, doesn't have any real documentation online. There's not even a Japanese Wikipedia page. I found more resources on Cybercross in English than in Japanese. And yet, when I play it, I see that there's a lot to like here. The plot of Cybercross is given in a lengthy introduction that the game immediately goes into 1 second after it displays the title screen. Evil Dr. Nosumi was banished from his home world for his mad science experiments, and now he's coming to Earth and creating an army of animal monsters. Fortunately, Earth is protected by a superhero, Muso Keiji Cybercross, or Armored Detective Cybercross. Now, from the looks of things, you might think that Cybercross is a licensed game, but it's not. Cybercross is a whole new game, though it is very obviously based on the look of the Metal Heroes series. This is the first PC Engine game developed by ITL, a company that has extremely close ties to Natsume and Taito. ITL doesn't do a whole lot on the PC Engine, but the 5 games that they do release are pretty interesting ones. Cybercross is a side-scrolling action game in a style that was relatively popular in the late 80s. You're going from left to right, and enemies will come out and conveniently walk straight towards your fist. The big gimmick of Cybercross is that you start out as a normal human, but once you smash one of the robots that carry power-ups and collect the power unit, you transform into Cybercross through a very elaborate sequence. As Cybercross, you have better control over your jumps, and you do more damage with your punches and kicks. Collect another power unit, and Cybercross gets his shield. The shield brings with it a weapon, and it comes in 3 varieties depending on the color of power unit you collect. Red is the Sun Shield, which gives you a sword. Green is the Moon Shield, that gives you a boomerang. And blue is the Star Shield, that gives you a gun. The shields have their own health bar on top of your own, but rather than taking a different amount of damage from different enemies, the shields can take 3 hits, period. Okay, if you collect this star, then they get 1 more hit. Once the shield has been damaged enough, you return to normal Cybercross. And if normal Cybercross is damaged to the point that the health enters the red bar, then you transform back into a normal human. Health can be recovered by collecting hearts, though if you're in human form and collect a power unit, you'll always be bumped up to at least the first green point. There's also the heart in the can that will extend the life bar. Crystals are worth bonus points, which doesn't do anything in this game. And there's a little T icon that increases the timer for the stage. You attack by pressing button 2, and if you press and hold button 2, then you'll charge up a super move. If you hold up and release 2, then you do a Cyber Punch, which will send enemies flying and also take out any that they collide with. Otherwise, releasing button 2 will do a Cyber Kick where you spin around. If you have a weapon and do the charged move, then you'll have a bit bigger of effect, though this really only seems to help with the boomerang, where charging it up will let you throw it further. Naturally, at the end of every stage there's a boss, and the first 2 have pretty simple patterns, although that second one can just fly around forever and never let you hit it. That third boss, on the other hand, can jump right through you and hit you every time, or at least I didn't find the trick to beating her easily. It definitely helps to have weapons when you confront the bosses, just because they seem to have an absurd amount of health. When you run out of energy, it's game over. You only get 1 life. And then it's back to the start of the game. Although, there is a cheat code to continue. Just press and hold 1, 2, and down, then hit start, and you'll continue from the beginning of the stage you died on. Unfortunately, the continue code works twice, and then it's back to the beginning. You don't recover health when you start a new stage in Cybercross, so I didn't really get any further than the very, very beginning of stage 4. Cybercross is definitely a game where you'll have to memorize patterns if you want to do well. There are 6 stages in all, though the 6th one is long enough to be about half the game. The publisher Face must have been happy with how Cybercross did, because it does get a sequel, Crossfiber, but we'll deal with that weird name when I get there. Now, even though Cybercross seems to be rather low-key, I was able to find plenty of comments from people talking about how this was one of their favorite PC Engine games. So I'd consider this one to have a bit of a cult following. My own feeling on Cybercross is that it's a good game, but not a great game. I think it captures the tone and feeling of superhero shows in Japan better than any game released to that point, but there's a lot of little flaws and things that just aren't as good as they could be. It's nice that the stages are multiplanar, usually have an upper and lower path dividing things, but the level layout really doesn't get any more complicated than that. The charge abilities are nice, but they take so long to charge that you almost have to prepare them before the enemies appear. Having 3 weapons is cool, but it seems like the boomerang doesn't do enough to stand out. You've got the better arc from the sword, you've got the long range of the gun, but the boomerang has to be charged to be really effective. And you can't even attack when it's out. So if you did charge and throw it, then you might wind up having to evade enemies for a while. In your human form, your jump becomes so stiff that it's hard to evade anything. And the bosses have a bad tendency to drag on. They need to die a lot faster than they do, because they just don't do enough to justify the length of the fight. But all of those complaints aren't really that bad. They're just all little things that could have been better. It's just, there's a lot of little things that could have been better. I liked Cybercross. I think it's a neat little game. I just wish it didn't have so many rough edges.